Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ and Friends. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and we have a very special show today featuring some wonderful people who are now volunteers at Camp Wieser. Camp Wieser is a camp that I hope I'm going to get to go to as someone with cancer, and I get to apply July 15th, and so do you if you would like to. Obviously, you have to be in cancer treatment to go to this wonderful camp. They came as campers and then they stayed as volunteers. We're going to hear their story. But first, let me introduce Erica Pope. She's the executive director of the MI1 Foundation. She's been on the show before with John, the camp director, who is an 18-year pancreatic cancer survivor. We shared his story, but now Erica's here to share a little bit more about the camp because maybe you know somebody that's an adult with cancer that would really benefit from this experience. So please welcome her back.
Thank you. It's so nice to be back, Chef AG. We love the platform that you've allowed us to be part of and really just sharing with the world about what the MI1 Foundation does. So we are a small nonprofit founded in Northern California, a little town of Roseville, California. And it came about because a local family had a cancer journey, like so many people that we know, like Melissa, like Peter, that you'll hear from in a little bit. They had a cancer journey and attended a camp that was built around supporting adults with cancer and their families and what that journey looks like. And when they went, it was really a life-changing experience for them. They felt the support that they needed at the time, and they thought, wow, this is really something so unique and that's not done to support adults with cancer. And how do we bring that to Northern California? So that's exactly what they did. They sat around their kitchen table. If you've ever heard the term kitchen table nonprofit, that is what the MI1 Foundation is. They sat around the kitchen table with some of their best friends and they said, we need to do this. More people need to have the support and experience a camp like this than just what is available in Southern California and a handful across the United States. So back in 2007, that's what they did. And in 2008, we had our first camp. It was called Camp Challenge back then. And a few years later, the name changed to Camp Wieser to honor the family that founded the MI1 Foundation. So this year will be our 17th year of hosting 35 families in the beautiful Santa Cruz Mountains of Scotts Valley here in California for 3 days, completely free to the adult cancer and up to 5 members of their family or their support system to really just take a break and spend some time with each other, make memories, have some fun. We talk about cancer at camp, but that's really the first day. We're all there for the same reason, but it's not cancer focused. It's focused on family memories and having fun. So for 3 days, we have jam-packed activities from adventure sports like zip lining and rock climbing. We have a full day spa that's built literally in a day, and all of our campers are pampered with massages and haircuts and manicures and pedicures and facials. We have a campfire, we have s'mores, we have a casino night, there's live dancing. If you've ever been part of a group of 300 people learning to square dance at the same time, that in itself is life-changing, but it is so much fun. And we have the best square dance caller. When you leave, you all know what you're doing. It's really contagious to have fun at camp. And I'd love for Melissa and Peter to share their stories about what brought them to find the MI1 Foundation and attend camp with their families or their besties, and then a full circle of returning as volunteers for several years. So Camp Wieser is 100% volunteer driven, all the way down to our management of applications, to the selection process, to the camp director, to all of the volunteers. It is a huge undertaking, and we have the most dedicated volunteers who return year after year to make it happen.
And that is great. Just when is the camp?
This year, the camp is September 12th, 13th, and 14th.
And where is the camp?
It is in the Santa Cruz Mountains in a little town called Scotts Valley. It's absolutely beautiful. From the moment you step on campus to the time you leave, you're just in touch with nature and the beautiful redwoods and the people. It's really magical.
Well, it sounds like fun. I'll wait, and I won't get my hair cut now. I know I'm getting haircut if I
Yeah,
get
Absolutely. Save it. Save it.
Save it for the camp. Thank you. Well, I'd love to meet Melissa and Peter.
Hi.
Hi.
Peter, you want to go first and tell your story?
Sure, I can start with mine. Uh, Discovering MI1 camp, it was my wife going through her cancer battles. Um, and she was diagnosed in 2013, and through oncology and the infusion centers and all of those types of things, the nurses that were involved there, they mentioned this great little place where you could get this time out away from everything that was going on. Well, in and amongst all that chaos of chemotherapy and appointments and more appointments and surgeries and all of those types of things, from a caregiver standpoint, hearing about a camp was kind of like, okay, let's go see what this is all about. And I went in, not for me, it was for just getting my wife time to stop. And everything is so messed into the whole process of healing and curing and stopping and all of those types of things. The chaos was just crazy. And with teenage kids, we went to this camp really not knowing a lot about what was going on. But as soon as we got there, it was just like we were enveloped with this hug, is the best way to put it. We get to the cars and everybody greets us and there's cheers and everything's taken care of. And it was, the nicest thing was to watch my wife's shoulders just settle. And because she was going to get taken care of. And from her standpoint, she could also look back at her kids. They were going to get taken care of. We had great camp hosts, and they basically just took us in and said, we got this. You go worry about you, do your thing, and we'll take care of the kids. And so just watching her shoulders just relax, and it was within minutes where that happened. For Cindy, her process that weekend was more of connection with others that were like her, that were things that I couldn't answer questions on. It wasn't doctor related, it was peer to peer relationship structures. And the immediate connections that happened in there just enveloped the whole structure. Enough so that a few years later, you come back and you change from one colored shirt, which is the camper shirt. In my case, when we were there, it was red. Now they're not. To these wonderful blue shirts. And these wonderful blue shirts, it becomes, this camp becomes, it's not about me, it's about them. And if I can take things away from their process, just for a weekend, it's just for a couple days, just that little bit, and to have that same experience of watching the shoulders relax, smiles come out, kids are running around, bigger kids are entertained, and they're not part of the process of the burden, but also watching the cancer patient be encouraged, blessed on, the best way I can say that, a big hug, people to talk to for a couple days. And then this group becomes this ohana, is the word that we use. It just envelopes the whole structure that I can't wait to come back each and every year. I've been a volunteer in multiple different positions. The camp host structure is very intense and very involved, driving people up and down the hillsides to get to and from things, whatever it takes kind of mentality. And then there's the other events that go along with it, from parades to other things that bring awareness to this. But it is this group. And what's really nice is when one of your host families that you're working with goes from the camper shirt to the blue shirt, because this is where we're winning, cancer's not. And it's the best feeling in the world to see that person come back and again and again and see how this works.
That's so cool. I'm curious, Peter, what's it like for kids? Because I mean, teenagers, they seem like too cool for camp.
My kids were the oldest kids there, and Joe and Dane, which were these two guys that basically took us on, they had them doing all sorts of stuff that they just took them in as like, we got these guys. And they took them off. They were zip lining, and there's this one thing that was called the flying squirrel this one year. You hook them up into a harness and a whole bunch of people run, and they just go swinging up in the air, and it's like flying but without wings. And my son just was totally loving that. To a ropes type course that they had that one year where they could go up and climb up into the trees. And so they really got engaged with people that were geared around them. They just weren't lumped into the whole group. Now we have face painting, and there was impromptu kickball games that start up in the middle of a field, and it was everybody. There's just these little things. And then one of the things that I absolutely love to do is tie-dye. And I haven't done tie-dye since I was in camp as a kid when I was 12 years old. And to tie-dye a t-shirt and create a pattern and tie it all up in knots and all those types of things was so cathartic to just release some of that stress. But also then you come up with this wonderful little art project at the end. I was like, we don't stop and do that. So it was kind of fun to have those kinds of things that we as adults can do, but also my kids could do, and they got to experience that.
Well, tie dyeing sounds more like it's my speed than zip lining. So I'm, so I'm not, I mean, I like doing things, that are fun, but I don't know if I don't know. After seeing that movie Kickball, I'm not so sure, but it sounds absolutely incredible. So thank you for volunteering. I always admire volunteers. I have a friend named John Pierre that always says volunteering is the price we pay for the privilege of living on earth.
I like that.
Or something like that. I don't think I quoted, but exactly right. But I myself love to volunteer in general and hope that I can switch color t-shirts after a little bit. So what about you, Melissa? I'd love to hear your story.
Yeah, so my story is a little bit different on the other end of it. In 2018, I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is a blood cancer. And one of the girls that I connected with in my myeloma group referred me to MI1. I had never heard of them. I was young, so I was like, oh, I don't know about this camp and what is this? And then COVID hit. And so I was brought camp to my house. They came to my house. They called it a staycation. And they brought my family everything that would have been at camp to my home. I had a bucket of all these amazing things. And so the following year, I was then invited to actually come experience camp. And it's mind blowing. The amount of hope that you leave there with, it's indescribable. And I actually came to camp with my best friend. My children were younger, they were like, oh, that's not cool. We don't want to go. We don't want to talk about cancer. Now they're begging to come to camp every year because they just think what we do there is amazing and they get it now. But yes, it was such an experience for my friend and I to come there, to get away. We had the best time. We were able to connect. I was able to connect with people who, could understand my journey of losing my hair and going through chemo and all those pieces that come with your cancer journey. So I can't now I'm on this side of things. I'm volunteering and still going through my own cancer battle, but able to come to camp and actually be a support to somebody who maybe is new to this whole cancer life. So camp is definitely given. And now my husband comes and we talk about camp and we're just, MI1 is part of our life.
Well, I'm curious if you don't mind sharing, where are you in your cancer journey?
So I had a stem cell transplant in 2019, and that has been successful. So there is no cure for multiple myeloma. What we hope for is long response, no remission. They call it response. So as of now, I'm still 6 years later in response. So every day just is a new day, and you never know, and you got to live it.
Well, I'd love to hear some more advice because that's my problem is just the anxiety and the worry. I mean, I don't, can't speak today, but how were you able to manage that part? And how many years has it been for you?
So it's been 6 years. Um, I think the best thing my oncologist ever said to me was one day at a time. And that's been my motto.
Okay, good. Well, if you have any more tips and tricks, let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got you, Melissa.
Always.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Erica, what do you do during camp? I mean, I'm sure, executive director, you've got a lot to do, but what are you going to be doing the whole work?
Oh gosh. Making sure nobody falls. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I get to sometimes I step in wherever I'm needed, to be honest with you. So lots of things happen. There's so many moving parts to camp, and things that happen on the back end that we want to make sure that the camp experience is nothing but perfect for everyone there. And our motto is we will make it happen, right? And we will make anything happen. And we want our campers to feel that sense of love and support, and not see behind the scenes of all that. And it's not even really chaos because it is such a well-oiled machine, but we just want our forward face to be our absolute best. And so I jump in and I help wherever I'm needed. I have been a family host, which has been one of my favorite roles. Like Peter and Melissa mentioned, when you become a family host, you have an immediate connection with that camper and that camper family. And it is a level that is like nothing ever that you experience with those individuals. And Peter mentioned when campers come back as volunteers. I know that he had a family who now comes back every year as a volunteer, and we got to do the changing of the t-shirt from the light blue camper shirt to the navy blue volunteer shirt. So I've been a host. I have filled water balloons. I have picked up garbage. I have taken pictures. I have organized activities. I've helped families find where they're supposed to be. I've put on Band-Aids. I get to do a little bit of everything. So that's my role at camp.
Oh, you got water balloons. So does that mean we get to throw them at people?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we do. And you mentioned, okay, I like the idea of tie dyeing because zip lining really isn't my speed. And that is why we have so many different activities, because our campers can come and do as much or as little as they want. It's their weekend. This is their journey and their experience. And however they want to treat camp, they get to do that. So if you want to come and sit underneath a tree and read a book all weekend, that's what you get to do. Or if you want to schedule yourself down to the minute and do everything from zip lining to Zentangle to tie-dye to massage, that's what you get to do. But there's something for everyone.
That's so cool. Is there Wi-Fi?
Oh, Wi-Fi is a bit spotty. If you stand under the big tree on one foot with your arm up while chewing gum, you might get Wi-Fi.
Very, very cool. Is there a dunk tank? I love dunk tanks.
Not okay, so camp is always a little different each year. We try to cater towards the big group that we have. Some years we have lots of littles, and some years we only have teenagers. So we really focus on who we have there at camp, and we want to make sure something is available for everyone. So I don't know if there's a dunk tank this year. I don't know.
Okay.
Could be. Maybe, maybe not. We'll all be surprised.
That would be so much fun. I love it. So I've been posting a link if people want to donate, to the camp. We figured out last time if every single subscriber of mine would donate just $1, you could send all 300 people to camp.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Really, because camp, we are 100% donor driven, volunteer driven camp, and every dollar makes a difference. It truly, truly does.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Who makes the food? Like, is it like, do you rent this like facility or do you bring chefs in? How does that work?
Oh, that's a great question. So we rent out a campus called Mission Springs, and lots of nonprofits visit throughout the year. We book it for the entire weekend, and we utilize their staff. So their staff helps with maintaining the rooms, stocking everything, doing all the cooking, helping with the hikes, helping with some of the activities. So it's Mission Springs staff that does all of the cooking, and for cooking for 300 plus people, it's not bad. Nobody goes hungry. We try to do our best to accommodate special diets, although we can't be perfect, right? So we always have gluten-free and vegetarian options. Nobody ever goes hungry, but if you have specific dietary needs, we do ask, definitely come prepared, bring your own food and snacks. We'll put a refrigerator in your room. We can help get you access to areas where you can create the food that you need, because when you're sick and you're not feeling well, I know Chef AJ, you've had some bouts with some pretty difficult times on what you've been able to eat, and we don't want someone's food requirements to not allow them to come to camp. So when I say we try to do everything, we really do try to do everything.
What are the accommodations like? Because when I think of a cabin, I think of like when I was 6 years old and it was completely open. There was no door.
Yeah, so each family gets their own private room. And within that room, sometimes there might be a couple of queen beds, there might be bunk beds, but each group who is there with their adult cancer patient gets their own cabin or their own room and their own private bathroom. So having privacy is really important to us, which is why some people say, well, why do you travel to Santa Cruz and you bring all of this stuff there to set up this camp? Mission Springs is actually the only place in Northern California that we've found that can accommodate the number of individuals, the number of campers and volunteers that we bring each year, while giving our campers their privacy. Because, if you need to go back and take a nap, you don't want to be in a room with 20 other bunk beds.
Wow, I don't know if I don't want to be in a bunk bed at all unless I'm the lower bunk.
Yes, yeah, I have slept in my share of bunk beds at camp. Our volunteers are grouped up in groups of sometimes 4 to 6, depending on if you're there with a group of friends or coworkers and you're all volunteering together. All of those are also grouped together and have their own private bathroom as well.
Nice. Well, it sounds amazing. I mean, I've been to Santa Cruz. I've never been to Scotts Valley, but it's pretty close, isn't it?
It is. It's very close. It's gorgeous.
Where do you get most of the campers from?
Well, we have a wonderful board member and volunteer who works closely with our oncology centers, which is possibly how Peter was connected through his oncology center. We do a lot of outreach and we work with all the local hospitals, including ones in the Bay Area, and even further up, Marysville, Yuba City area. We try to connect with all of the oncology centers to let them know the work that we're doing, and if they have campers or potential patients that they would like to refer to us. So we work closely with within our medical community, and we also do a lot of outreach just in the community in general. So we're active on social media, and we do a lot of outreach within the city. I'm always out and about representing the foundation through our local chamber and other community events. So a lot of it is word of mouth.
Thank you. And hopefully people will watch this show and learn about it, whether they want to donate or actually volunteer at the camp or go to the camp. So Barbara has a question. Barbara's watching live. I don't know what RMDs are, but I'll read it. And maybe Barbara could clarify, or maybe one of you know what it means. What would the donation guidance be? For instance, if someone had RMDs that they would like to make a donation with a portion to the camp, is it a different process? I just don't know what an RMD is. Does anybody know what that means?
So it's a way to donate. And if you go to our website under our donate page, we have all the different ways that you can do. So you can donate stocks, you can donate through your donor advised fund, you can donate a car, you can donate money, all those sorts of things. You can go to our donate button and there's little categories and you can see all the different ways that you can support us.
So what does RMD mean? I'm not familiar with that word.
I'll have to look it up. Peter, you
Yeah.
are,
Yeah, I got it.
yeah.
It's good. It's a required minimum distribution. It's coming from an IRA or
Okay,
one
thank
of
you.
those types of, well, it's 401ks, but by the time you retire, it's an IRA type account. The required minimum distribution you have to do. Once you pull money from any of those accounts, you can direct it wherever you need it to go. And stocks and investments and those types of structures coming in, those are, you can designate how you want those to come.
All right. Well, thank you. That's wonderful.
RMD completely lost my mind. I've been in Tahoe for the last week, so I'm still on vacation mode.
Where do most of the campers and their families and volunteers come from? Is it mostly people in Northern California or people coming from other parts of the United States or even outside the United States?
All over the United States. I don't think we've had any international travelers yet, but we do have volunteers. In fact, I have a friend who's flying in from Michigan to be a volunteer this year. She's had her own cancer journey and is recovered from all of her treatments. And she's like, Erica, I need to come and volunteer. So she's coming from Michigan to volunteer. We've had campers come from Texas, Maryland, all the way across the United States. By nature, a lot of our volunteers do come from the greater Sacramento area because that's where we're based and that's where a lot of people have heard about us. So attending camp, they all carpool and head on down to Scotts Valley. But really, you can come from anywhere. As long as you can get to camp, if you can provide your own transportation to camp, we welcome you.
So you either drive there or you fly into San Jose Airport. Is that correct?
Yep, that's it.
And how far is it from the airport to the camp?
Well, I guess that depends on traffic, which can always be dicey in that area, but less than an hour, I would say.
Wow, that far. I didn't know that. Okay. That's good to know. Well, it just sounds like it could be really, really fun. Do you just like, I mean, because I'm in different cancer support groups and nobody has heard of this. I mean, I'm the one that's told them about it. So are the oncologists not like telling their patients? Because you do, like, I just got my form signed off. So like if I'm accepted to go, I can go. But I'm surprised more oncologists have never heard of this.
You know, we oncologists themselves see so many patients, right? And they have so much on their plate, and their focus is the health and well-being of their patient. And we like to think that Camp Wieser is definitely a complement to your cancer journey and care and how much it can enhance your life and that journey. But our relationships are built with the nurse care navigators, with some of the social workers at the oncology centers, and turnover happens. That is probably our biggest challenge, is that we develop relationships with these individuals, these different social workers and nurse navigators, patient navigators, and then the next year we go back and we try to maintain those relationships, but people move on. So we kind of lose that connection, which is why we have someone who works at it all year. But we wish more people did know about us. Our dream, we would love to have a forever camp, and we could fill a camp every single weekend if we had the space, the time, and the money, right? The need is there. The need is definitely there. It's just the resources to do it.
That would be so fun. That would be amazing. What's the youngest camper you've ever had, and what's the oldest camper you've ever had?
I think we have had a 6-week-old camper that came with a family member. So as a newborn, and then all the way up to someone in their 90s.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anybody like shooting video while you're there to, show other people?
We do. One of the fun things that happens at camp is every family actually receives their own personal family portrait. And I know this is a really special thing that our campers go home with. So we have professional photographers who are there that schedule a time for each group to have their photo taken, and they get to take home their own personal family portrait. But we also have a videographer who's there all weekend, capturing all the moments on video. And then one of the most special things we get to see is on Sunday, we have our closing ceremonies, and our videographer stays up all night and puts together a recap video of the camp and all the activities that weekend. And then we watch the beautiful video. In fact, you can see all of those videos on our website and our YouTube channel. You can go there and you can watch and click all the videos, and you can kind of see what camp looked like each year. But bring your box of tissue. It's always a little emotional to see what has happened and where people were when they arrived and where people are when they're leaving, and the impact that was made on their lives. So we definitely have lots of boxes of tissue, but it's worth it.
Wow. And I assume any kind of camp would have first aid, but because most, well, not most, all of the people there will have some kind of cancer, are there actual doctors or nurses there?
There are. We actually do have a full medical team who is present at camp each year to take care of. Honestly, I think the worst that we've had has been a few bee stings and some Band-Aids, knock on wood. But we do have a palliative care oncologist from Stanford who is part of our board. So he is there every year. That's Dr. Frank. Heidi Wieser, who is actually one of the founding members. So it was her. Heidi and her husband, Tom. But Heidi returns every year. She's an oncology nurse and has been for a very long time. She is always there. And then we have a first aid team from firefighters, paramedics, other first responders who come back year after year as volunteers.
I mean, it just sounds so amazing. I have a friend watching live. I don't want to say her name because maybe she doesn't want people to know whether or not she has cancer, but you know who you are. And I hope at July 15th, when the applications become available, I sure hope you'll apply.
I would encourage you to do so. Without experiencing it from that side and just seeing the impact and hearing the stories from our past campers like Melissa and Peter, it really is life-changing.
Well, I just remember I loved camp when I was little. I went to day camp every summer until I moved to California when I was 11, and it was just my favorite thing in the whole world.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And Peter actually, Peter's daughter also comes to camp and volunteers now, so which is lovely to have. And you know, I have my group of voluntold, which they're not really voluntold, but my husband leads the construction team that helps build the day spa. Melissa's husband comes and works with my husband, and it's just, in fact, my mom, my almost 80-year-old mom, is actually downstairs at the moment. Says, what can I do? I want to be part of this camp. I hear how amazing it is. I see the videos. I hear you guys talking about it, and I'm having a little FOMO. I can't go to camp and volunteer, but what can I do? So she's actually downstairs visiting right now and working on a little surprise for all of our campers. I can't tell you what it is because then it wouldn't be a surprise, but
Can you volunteer if you have cancer?
Melissa's there.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you still like need a letter from your oncologist to be a volunteer like you do to be a camper?
Not from the oncologist, but you do fill out a volunteer application to make sure that you are healthy enough to come. And again, even as a host, I can't zip line. I have a lot of broken bones from my cancer. So going up the hill and zip lining isn't something I can do with my family, but it's beautiful. You can go up there, you can sit, you can visit with other campers while your campers zip line. So there's definitely ways to accommodate even being a host if you physically can't do certain things. So yeah, my last family, there was a teenager and the parents, mom and dad, and they wanted to go do all the adventure stuff, and all she wanted to do was henna. So I left there with henna everywhere because all she wanted to do was henna. So I hung out with her, and there's so much to do there. You cannot.
I'm just picturing it in my head, like kind of like the Renaissance Fair or some just big kind of like Disneyland type thing. And I can't visualize it, but I can't wait. And is there like a schedule? Like, is there a certain meal times? You have to wake up and go to bed at a certain time?
Well, we don't give you a curfew, but we do advise you to get some sleep because we do have meals are scheduled. So you do, what's neat is our team of volunteers schedules. We want to make sure that people can do everything that they want to do. So we do a lot of scheduling prior to you attending camp, and you'll get a lanyard with your own personal schedule on it on where you're supposed to be at what time you eat, what time dinner is, what time s'mores are.
Erica likes s'mores.
I do. I have the best memories of watching the kids eat. And I was like, oh my gosh, you probably should stop eating all that chocolate. But they had the best time, and just chocolate and marshmallow everywhere. I feel like you're not having fun unless you're covered in either snow cone or chocolate. So
Nice. Colleen says, well, what if you don't have 5 people to go with you? Can you still go?
absolutely. We've had a camper come by herself. She had her own cancer journey and didn't feel like anyone part of her network wanted to go, or that she wanted to be there with her that weekend. She came by herself and made friends. So you can come by yourself, you can bring your spouse, your bestie. Melissa brought her best friend. We've had, when we say family, that term is we use it very loosely. So it does not have to be your spouse and your children. It can be your 5 best girlfriends. It can be your parents, your children, your cousin, your sorority sisters. It can be anybody who is with you on your cancer journey, or just you by yourself.
Right. How are the mosquitoes there? Are there mosquitoes?
You know what? They're actually not bad. There are a few bugs, but really it's not bad. You're so close to the coast that they don't like that colder weather in the evening. So the mosquitoes are not too terrible.
Nice. And is there swimming? Is there hiking?
There is swimming and hiking. Usually the pool is open. There is a pool that you can go and swim in, and there's a nature hike that's led that you can participate in. We have a guide that takes you all the way up to the top. It's called Eagle's Nest, I think is what it is. And when you're up there on a clear day, you can see the ocean, but it's absolutely beautiful. One year there was a fox that had a little den under the deck, the observation deck that you stood on. But you can hike on your own, or you can go on the guided hike, and it's really cool because the guide will show you the different plants, and as you increase in elevation, things change, and you learn something.
I mean, I think it sounds so much fun that those of you watching without cancer, find somebody that you know with it so you can camp with them. I mean, that's what I would do.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Are there certain meal times, and like what is it, like buffet, or like how does that work?
It is a buffet style, so we have to feed a lot of people with a limited amount of time. So they do put out several stations. It's the same food at each station, and you pick a line, grab your plate, and walk on through. There's a big cafeteria that we can all eat in. Plus, there's lots of outdoor tables. I always eat outdoors because the weather is beautiful. So, yeah, it's in the morning, 8 a.m., noon, and around 6. I think is about the average meal time.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
And all the snacks in between.
And all the snacks. Yeah, right now we're actually accepting snack donations. So we have a board member who works a few months prior to camp selecting and getting donations for all kinds of snacks. You do not go hungry, I promise you. Everything from lots of healthy options like dried fruit and nuts and trail mix and granola bars and protein bars, to beef jerky, to candy and cookies and chips and everything in between.
that sounds good. If I came back as a volunteer, I wish I could teach cooking.
I think there would be a place where we could do that. We're always open for ideas. Every year, I think I mentioned that camp is a little different every year, right? We don't always have the same group of volunteers with the same skill set. And one year a camper comes back and says, hey, I can do this. Can I offer this at camp? And absolutely. If we feel like our campers would enjoy it, we want to give that opportunity to our campers. So let's chat more about that, Chef AJ.
I mean, I would need equipment and stuff, but I could also do comedy. So I could do one, or I could do them both together, actually.
And laughter is the best medicine. So laughter and cooking at the same time.
Yeah. Well, usually when I appear, I'm telling jokes the whole time. I mean, I am showing something, but I try to be as funny as possible. So
I love it.
not on this show, but in my real life. Peter, how many people are going with you this year?
Well, when I was the camper, it was in 2013. It was just my family of 4 of us, my 2 kids and my wife and I. And as Erica's already pointed out, my daughter now comes back as a volunteer all the time. Year to year, whatever it happens to be, I pretty much apply as a volunteer, and I kind of you pick your first and second choices of things that you might want to do. I just put down a big question mark. You tell me where you need me to go and I'll go do it. Um, and you know, I'm at one of those ones of wherever you need to go on the camp, and it can be those small families or bigger families. And if you're on the host side of the coin, if you're running around being a warrior and you're setting up and breaking down and picking up and moving things, like everybody steps in and does their jobs. It's not about doing a thing or being in a channel. Um, we find out as a volunteer, if we're going to be a host, we generally find out about a month in advance before the camp comes together. And we get an opportunity to be able to connect before the camp. Most of it is the details of, what do you need? What's going on? How many people in your family? Limit your number of cars because of parking, the back stuff. Do you have any food preferences? We try to find out as much as we can before those, because it's such a short period of time frame. You try to make that connection with your family that you're working with before camp. And so from that, who knows wherever that's going to be. And I mean, sometimes it's a surprise. I've been put into a host position where I thought I was doing one thing, and at camp been changed to being a host. And you have to adapt to that one mentally from, oh, I was going to be doing this. Now I'm going to be doing that. It makes your mind shift a little bit, but the whole thing is this camp is so great. And it runs itself so well. And Erica and her team and the camp team puts together such an event that you really don't have to work too hard to make being a volunteer happen. My daughter's done things in the spa, and she keeps wanting to do some of the things within the art, that they pull her back to the spa. So it's a matter of whatever's necessary.
Very nice. When you say like you're hosting a family, are you kind of like the concierge for that particular family?
Yep, you are their concierge. The way I word it for me is, whatever you need, I will make it happen. Don't worry about it. Just tell me what you need and I will make it happen. Oh, you wanted Tootsie Rolls? I will go try to find Tootsie Rolls. You want chocolate chip cookies? I will find chocolate chip cookies. You need soy milk? We will go find soy milk. Oh, you want to switch around from a regular massage to a chair massage? We will see what we can do to figure out how to make those things work. Oh, you want to go back and do the zip line again? We can see how we can work those. And so you are that concierge making those things happen. What's really nice is when all that family has got their stuff and their activities going. I actually got caught at one point sitting reading a book because I was in the middle of where my family was. 3 of them were in the spa, one was on the field, one was doing Zentangle. And it was like, okay, I'm just going to stay in the middle and just kind of keep an eye of where things are going on if they need anything. And I was reading a book, and they took a picture of me doing
that was me who took that picture. It's one of my favorites. But honestly, as a host, you're so busy the entire weekend. And honestly, if you have a moment to sit down and read a book and recharge yourself, that's really, really important. You have a big role as a host. And it's not only physically taxing, but it can also be very emotionally taxing. And you have to be prepared for that. And we want to support our hosts and all of our volunteers that, you're making connections with people probably at the hardest, most difficult time of their life. And are you emotionally ready to take that on? And can you take on the responsibility of making sure that they can have and get everything that they need, that their camp experience is perfect, while also maintaining your own mental health and well-being?
Hey, but if there's no Wi-Fi, how do your volunteers communicate with each other?
Oh, we have our ways.
You have like walkie-talkies?
You got it. We have a lot of walkie-talkies, and each team of volunteers has a lead that they report to. So that lead knows where all of their volunteers are at one time, because we all have it scheduled. And then that lead has a walkie-talkie. So everybody who has a role at camp is connected via walkie-talkie. And Guess what? The fire department loans the walkie-talkies to us. So we have really, really great communication throughout the weekend. If we didn't have those, we wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, fair and square, we have to be able to communicate with everyone, and that's how we do it.
Nice. Well, I can't wait. If you guys have any questions, put them in the chat. If you got $1 to spare, should men wear sandals or boots? Yeah, what should campers bring and pack? That's a good question.
That's a great question. So that's actually something our hosts will go over with all of the groups prior to attending, but we do give you a packing list. And with all the different activities, you can wear, flip-flops when you're down around the field. I always bring mine, but I also bring closed-toed shoes because when you head up the hill to do your adventure sports, you want to make sure that your toes are covered. You have to have closed-toed shoes. And then bring your cowboy or cowgirl boots because we have a Western night that is so much fun. Bring your favorite Western hat, bandana, and flannel shirt. That's when we do all of our line dancing and square dancing and casino night. But we give you a whole packing list. It's chilly, right? So during the day, you might need a t-shirt, but then at night, you're going to need a hoodie or a sweatshirt or maybe even a light jacket. So you dress in layers like you would when you go to the coast and just have fun. But tennis shoes, hiking shoes, Western boots, flip-flops, all of the above.
I don't think I have a cowboy hat, so or cowboy boots.
There might be a chance to create something that you could wear if you forget something. But if you, my daughter, when she volunteered, I think she just had a bandana and a flannel shirt, and it was a plaid shirt. You'll fit right in.
Nice. One of the live viewers said they missed where the camp is located.
Scotts Valley at Mission Springs and Scotts Valley in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you guys so much for the work you do. It's so amazing, and I hope I get accepted. And to apply, you want them to go, you've given me 3 links. So is there one direct link to apply, or they just go on your website?
So the best thing to do to apply is to go on our website and sign up to receive our newsletter and also follow us on social media. So right now there's no way to apply because we're not ready for applications yet. Applications will be available right around July 15th is our goal. But again, because camp is completely led by a group of volunteers, although you would never know it, the most efficient group of people ever. But you can go to our website, sign up to our newsletter, and you will be alerted as soon as applications are available. And get them in fast.
You mentioned follow you on social. You didn't include that in the show notes. So if you want to send me another email with your social media, make it clickable, and I can put it in both the videos we did.
Facebook and Instagram, we make a lot of announcements there. So definitely follow us on those social platforms.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for the work you do.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. And I hope that we get to see you at camp. I know I'll see Melissa and Peter there.
Well, I hope so. And now that I know you guys live closer, I hope we get to see you at a potluck.
Absolutely. I enjoyed the last one. So thank you.
Right. Well, Peter and Melissa are invited too.
Thank you.
On July 27th.
Okay.
The next one. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ and Friends. Please come back Tuesday at 11 a.m. for Dr. Doug Lyle. Send in your questions for